RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, there I am. My hair looks like shit. Hold on a second. Hi everyone. My name is Tara Devlin. I am the founder of the delightful website RDTDaily.com, formerly known as RepublicanDirtyTricks.com. There's never a shortage of Republican dirty tricks. Maybe one day we'll have to change it to, I don't know, finally we have some decency. Maybe I should pick up that URL. All right, so we meet here every Saturday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. At the RDT Daily Facebook and YouTube channels. That's Eastern Standard Time, and we're replayed starting Sunday on Progressive Voices or anytime on the Progressive Voices app. We're also available on GDPR Revolution 99, which is another great independent liberal radio station, so you should check it out and bookmark it. What else? Donate to the site. Do me a favor. I'm getting a little irritated, as usual. I'm just irritated. I'm irritable. What do you expect? We live in fascism. It's irritating. So I would like for you guys, if you can, if you have the means, to donate to the site, but also buy some merchandise at the RDT Daily store. We have some really great stuff, very fun designs you can wear on your, just walk around. It's liberating and free to walk around with t-shirts bashing Trump, because it's a good conversation starter as well. That's what I find. When I'm out there, you get to know people who are on your side, and it's a way of networking too. So, who knows who you'll meet when you're wearing one of our resistance T-shirts? Because all the profits go to the site. It goes into creating more liberal content, to funding this show, to funding writers to write stories about what the hell is going on in this fascist USA before our freedom of speech is completely eliminated. And the other thing is, if you donate, you can also just donate to the site. If anybody who donates above $20 or above will get our new Keep Calm and Join the Resistance window clings. All right. I used to give out a vote blue and grab them by the midterms, but that's by the time you get it. Midterms are going to be over, so that's what I would need you to do. Also, I know the show. It's going to get better. Hold on, I have to get through this. There is a necessary evil to fundraising. It's irritating. I wish I had won the lottery. That's another story. That $1 billion lottery. What kind of sick society do we live in? Yeah, I played. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? Because you got to take a chance, at least, if you're living in this system that sucks. But to have that system, it's almost like validating the sickness of the entire broken system. So because we'll pick one person, we'll pluck them out of the broken misery and put them into the class of billionaires, you see. So it's almost like a way of telling the people, hey, you do have hope. Don't lose all hope. All right, don't bash the system, you see, because there's an opportunity there to become a billionaire without having to be born on third base thinking you hit a triple like Trump. So, but anyway, I didn't win. So that's why I'm here pushing window clings. You know, you never saw Andrew Breitbart having to do that. Yeah, I got to bug up my ass about it. It's irritating because we're on the side of truth, justice, and the American way. We don't have funders like the Mercer family or the Koch brothers or Shelley Adelson. You know, as much as, or George Soros. We don't have, that's what they have. If I was up here spewing conservative hate, believe me, we would be in a studio and we'd be funded. I'd have a whole team here, and my hair wouldn't look like shit. For real. It's true. That's just the way it is, because we're doing it ourselves, and we're also, the fact is, we're fighting against the people like Shelley Adelson, like those old cretins who are nothing but parasites on the back of the working class for time immemorial, and on this system. They are breaking the back of the American dream, the American way. They're the tumor on the body politic. But anyway, so that's why they need to fund people, well, when he was alive, but now Andrew Breitbart, they gave him $6 million to start that propaganda network, Breitbart. They are funded by the Mercer family. They don't live there, but they have a townhouse of cretins who write their anti-Semitic, anti-American hate. That's it. They need their propaganda. They realize that. But this isn't propaganda. We're talking about truth. Here's the thing. All right, let me get into the show because I'm annoyed. Alrighty. Also, give this show a review on iTunes. If you don't have financial means, you can also help us by just spreading the word. You know what I mean? That helps too. All right, guys. So, listen. People like the show. What do you want me to say here? This is what I have to do. It's annoying. I hate it. All right. Here's the thing. All right, what happened today? Let me just get into it because it's overwhelming. There was another shooting. Of course, I was just minding my own business. This morning, I woke up late. Saturday's really the only day that I sleep a little bit. So I was sleeping, woke up. I was minding my own business, watching a documentary on Nazism. And I was like, let me see what's going on in the real world, in the current fascist takeover. And, of course, it never ends. Right? So we have a shooting at a synagogue, a mass shooting, with now I don't know how many people are dead, according to... And that's the other thing. It's I was watching MSNBC, and they were saying, this number may rise. The statistic, these are human beings. It's not just now we have how many people are dead? They were saying 11. Death toll rises to 11. It's going and this number is gonna get larger or whatever she said. And it was like, it's not a number. These are human beings. This is a life that was snuffed out. They went to the synagogue this morning to practice their religion or whatever, gather with like-minded people, and now they're dead because somebody who is an anti-Semite, as the more details are coming out, this guy was a rabid anti-Semite, went there because he hated, he said all Jews must die. This is what he was saying. And I thought, why? What is wrong with white men? Frankly, and now this guy's like 50-something years old, or is it 57? I don't know. There's all the new, all of the details are coming out. He's either 47 or 50. He's in his near 50s or whatever. He's in that vicinity. Some white loser, and apparently, of course, all over the internet, the Trump sycophants are trying to excuse Trump. You know what I mean? Because that's all that matters. Is if Trump gets off scot-free, they're cool. It doesn't matter what he says, what he does, who he inspires, the lies that he and the entire party tell. So this guy, online, they're saying, he was a Trump hater because he thought that Trump was controlled by Jews. Now, another thing he thought was that there was a caravan of illegals, okay? what are commonly known as migrants, what are normally known. This is a migrant caravan, people fleeing their failed states that we helped create, seeking asylum because they want to live. You see, they just want to live in peace. So and if you or I or anybody else or Trump or whoever were living in a town, in a city that was ravaged by drug gangs and they were in danger for their lives every single day, they might join a migrant caravan and get the hell out of there, right? I know I would. We would all take that chance. Nobody walks 1,000 miles to freedom, to try to grasp freedom, just because they want to come up here and clean your gold-plated toilets, Trump? No. They heard about that thing we supposedly have in abundance here, freedom, you fascist freaks. But these cowardly little cretins, it's to them, freedom is something that you can't extend to brown people, because then I guess that's just a little bit too much, right? A little too much freedom there. They only want freedom. It's like when the founding fathers wrote, all men are created equal. You better believe they meant all men, all straight white men. That's it. Property owners, not men who had to work for a living, not black men, certainly, and not women. What, are you kidding me? Women are property. That's why you take the man's name. Women were declared as property, like your couch or your chicken coop. That's what that was a legal construct for women. So once you were married, you were the property of your husband. He could do whatever the hell he wanted to you. Beat you, make you shut up, make you stay home. You didn't have rights like your children. Like children had rights. They were the property of the father. So, what the hell? All men, this has been the struggle of this country from the beginning. We've had some pretty decent sounding founding documents, promises that were laid out in these founding documents, but not everybody has had access to them. So the more people that get a seat at the table, the more we say, hey, I want a piece of that. I want to be included in this thing, in the Constitution. I want it to belong to me as well. The more that we extend the franchise of democracy, the more cowardly these white men, these tiny little cowardly freaks, end up being. It's fascinating, really, but just with the bombing that went on this week. So we had a week of bombing. Then today, an anti-Semite goes and kills Jews, yelling, all Jews must die." Why? I mean, it's so weird. They all Jew. Why? What? I mean, it's, I guess then we'll have utopia? I don't understand it. I just don't, it's beyond comprehension with that people who are living in peace, that are just doing, they're with their families at a synagogue. They all Jews must die. But it can't, because obviously the guy is mentally ill, right? But he's got a giant asshole screaming lies into his ear about George Soros and migrant caravans that are being funded by an international cabal of globalists, hence, quote unquote, Jews. That's what that means. What these people, we've been here before. How many times do we have to replay this movie? We know how it ends. I mean, it never ends good for the fascists, that's for sure. But they keep replaying it. And today, Trump, I didn't grab the video because I was busy, whatever. I was busy not doing my hair, but he was saying, "Oh, I can't believe it." He's like a 12-year-old who didn't read the book, trying to give a book report, saying, "Oh, this anti-Semitism." I would like one of the reporters to ask him what does anti-Semitic mean? What is the term anti-Semitic? Because I bet you $100 or more. I bet you a lottery ticket. He wouldn't know. He doesn't know what the hell anti-Semitic means. He knows that it means you don't like Jews. He doesn't know where it comes from. He has no idea why we call it anti-Semitic. Because he's a moron. They're all stupid, these people, and they're in charge in spite of receiving fewer votes. But this is why we have to get out in the midterms. This isn't a drill, people. I'm really pissed because the more I think about it, I think about those who voted for Jill Stein. Jill Stein? Who the hell is Jill Stein? Every 4 years she jumps up and says, "I want to be president." Where the hell are you in the meantime, besides having dinner with Putin? Is there a reason that Putin would give a shit about Jill Stein? Probably because he wants these fascist Republicans to run this country because he gets he gets benefit from it. They do his bidding. So she's, whether unknowingly or knowingly, she's a tool of an anti-democratic foreign dictator who's coming in and pointing out the flaws in the system. Yeah, of course, the Democratic Party sucks too, because they're all in bed with money, But at least the Democratic Party won't let you starve in the streets. That's one thing I always say. But there is hope in the Democratic Party because people, for the most part, we're trying to create a more perfect union. We're not out there lying, like Trump and all of the Republicans that enable him. They're evil because they're activating these mentally ill, violent right-wingers. They understand what they're doing. And when you go and they ask, do you think that George Soros is funding this caravan? They say, yeah, I think I saw that somewhere. It's like somebody says I hear a lot of people are saying, who the hell, and that's how the lies seep into these mentally ill morons' minds. Of course, if you're nuts, you think that. Why would the president of the United States, why would Republicans, these people in positions of high, very high positions of power, they're not lying. Why would they be lying to me, right? And especially even the propaganda, what's his face? Hannity, and all those people on Fox News, all those propagandists, that you think, of course, they're not lying to me. This is the only channel telling me the truth. No one dare tell me that a cabal of globalists are funding a caravan of illegals to come up here and vote illegally in the election. They know that they're full of shit, and they keep saying it anyway. Why? Because they're filthy fascists. That's why, who hate democracy. And so don't give me this shit. This is all week I've been hearing with the bombing going on, that or the attempted bomb, the mail bombs, let's say, how both sides need to tamp it down. We all need to reel it in. There's so much vitriol in this rhetoric going. Well, who are they talking about? Now they bring up Steve Scalise. Well, Steve Scalise was shot at a baseball practice, and he was the guy who shot Steve Scalise was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Okay, but and Bernie Sanders, and this is what Republicans are saying, and we don't put the blame on Bernie Sanders for the actions of one of his supporters. Yeah, of course not. But we do put the blame on Twitler. So that's what they're saying. Oh, it's just so unfair to blame Twitler for the actions of one of his supporters, just like Bernie's supporters, Bernie's not responsible for the actions of one of his supporters. But the fact is, Bernie, you never heard Bernie say to his supporters, treat them rough. Treat those Trumpanzees rough, and I'll pay your legal fees. He never called Steve Scalise evil. I'll call him evil. But Bernie never did. Bernie never called Steve Scalise stupid either or racist. I mean, I will, but Bernie never said I'll pay your legal fees. If you treat them roughly, I want to punch them in the face. He never chanted, lock them up, lock Steve Scalise up. He never lied. Because the fact is, he never had to lie about Steve Scalise, about what Steve Scalise was up to, because the truth is just that bad. The truth is bad enough about Steve Scalise. You don't have to lie about him. You don't have to lie about somebody who claps like one of those, monkeys that you buy with the cymbals. You don't have when he's cheering, taking health care for millions of people after he comes back from almost being shot, and he gets to have another chance at life. I mean, not almost being shot, from being shot and almost being killed, and he gets another chance at life thanks to we the people affording him health care, right? There are people that got shot in this country, thanks to the actions of Steve Scalise, his funding, doing the bidding of his paymasters in the NRA, so they can't go to a movie or they can't go to school without getting shot, but then they have to go and create a GoFundMe page for their medical bills. Steve Scalise didn't have to do that because we gave him health care, right? But what did he do? How did he thank us when he got out of the hospital? He assured all the rest of his co-conspirators in the Republican Party that he hadn't changed, that his near-death experience didn't change him a bit. He was just the same asshole as he was before he got shot. Well, that's too bad for him, because I don't think it's like, what's his face? Lee Atwater, how he had to, when he got cancer, he got brain cancer in his 40s, and he had to beg his maker for forgiveness for all the harm he had done to the country. Clearly that's not happening to Steve Scalise. He's that morally damaged. He's that morally ill. And that's the Republican Party, because we it's like OJ's looking for the real killer. Trump was looking for the real victim in the bombings, in the attempted bombings last week, and it was him. He found the victim. He was looking at it in the mirror. He's the victim, and all of the Republicans rallied around him. The poor dear, the poor victims, they're all such victims. You see, they have everything. They have all the branches of government. They rigged the game successfully. In spite of receiving, fewer votes, they rigged the game. They're sitting in the executive office, the Oval Office, despite receiving fewer votes. Their majority, so-called majority in the Senate, represents less than 40% of the American people. The majority of the American people do not want what they are peddling or pushing. And what are the Republicans pushing? Let's just name it. They're pushing oligarchy. That's it. That's why they have to go and beg Shelley Adelson. Oh, when Chris Christie said something, he he said something that Sheldon Adelson didn't like. And I think he said something about Israel. I can't exactly remember what it was. It was he made a faux pas. One of the words he said that he used the wrong word. Shelley Adelson didn't like it. Chris Christie, in the middle of the night, got on a plane, a government plane, one of, I think it was funded by We the People, and in the middle of the night went out to see Sheldon Adelson in person to see, I almost choked on myself, to apologize for misspeaking. That's how much power that old cretin, that crippled old cretin has, that rolls around in his wheelchair like I don't know what, like something out of your nightmares. And that's what's important. You see, but then on YouTube, if you go on YouTube, you'll see all these videos because Chris Christie thought it was great publicity for him to go around yelling at teachers and yelling at old people on Social Security who dared challenge him. So there's all these videos of the tough guy, Chris Christie, yelling at women, yelling at teachers for wanting to have a dignified retirement, for wanting to have a pension, for trying to fight for the American dream, for what exactly made this country great, which was having a middle class that was available to everybody. That you didn't have to be born on third base thinking you hit a triple. You could actually have a job. You could even sweep the floors, and you could still have a decent middle class life. You didn't have to work 3 uniquely American jobs to make, not even come close to the standard of living of your grandparents. No, you were able to. You did better than your parents, and that was because of unions that elevated everybody's standard of living. That even if you weren't in a union, so we had 35% unionization, we had a top marginal tax rate of 90%, which prevented an intergenerational aristocracy like the likes of the damn Koch brothers and the friggin' Donald Trump Jr., the most useless cretin to ever be inflicted on this world. Besides Trump, I mean, that he is one useless scum. But, so anyway, and, that's what Chris Christie that's what they're yelling at, because in the Republican zeitgeist, you're greedy, right? If you want a decent middle class life, if you have good health care and you have a union that fights for your retirement, and what they do is they turn other workers against you. Hey, I don't have that. Why do I, I'm 85 years old and I got to drive a goddamn Uber to make ends meet. Why do you have a Cadillac healthcare plan and I got to cut my pills in two, right? But that's what they do. They turn working people against each other, and while they suck on, they prostrate themselves in front of the billionaires who they are actually working for. So anyway, and that's fascism right there, because fascism is the merger of the corporate and state, and we have a corporation. Yeah, we have a country that functions as an appendage to the affairs of billionaires, and that's it. And Trump, this week, there's no difference. So what happened this week? So he says he's a nationalist. Now, that's another. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I have this video. My computer is acting very slow. It's always fucking something. Now, do I have that nationalist video? I almost don't want to look for it because I fear it will slow down my computer. Yeah. I don't have it. Anyway, yeah, so the fact is he's like, a lot of people say that nationalists, this word nationalist, it's so old fashioned. Right. It was that old, it's like the Godwin's law, right? It's that I've been talking about for 3 weeks because I hate it. And I'm so glad that people have seen the light about it. And it's just another thing. I feel I'm almost, in a lot of ways, I feel like Cassandra, like the mythical Cassandra, who was cursed by being able to see the future and to warn people about the future, about impending disasters, but nobody believed her. That was her curse. That's what I feel like sometimes, because for years I've been saying this is bullshit. This Godwin's law, and guess what? Fascism is coming. It's we're barreling there, and I feel like here we are now, right? And everything I said, it's almost like the same thing. With I'm writing this book called "It Sucks to Be Right," and that's why I say it sucks to be right, because I don't want to be right. The book is about my father and I. My father was a Reagan Democrat, and we used to argue all the time. And I would say, this will lead to that, and it would really hurt my feelings too, because he was voting Republican, and I'd be like, don't you care about me? Don't you want me to have a retirement? Don't you care if I have health care? You know? And I know he did care, but it's almost like, what the hell is wrong with you? These Republicans, they have been deceived. It's like the same thing now with Republicans running on the bullshit that they will protect Americans who have pre-existing conditions. They really do count on the stupidity of the people who vote for them. Are you kidding me? And this is another reason why we have to vote in this midterms, because we have to overcome their cheating, for one thing, because they are committing acts of voter suppression that are unprecedented. They understand the stakes. I think we've been asleep, frankly, and thinking everything is running normally, while they've been behind the scenes like little demons, like little gremlins in the machine, rigging the system against democracy. And they have been very successful, as evidenced by the fact that they're sitting in power despite receiving fewer votes. If this was a functioning democracy, how many presidents do we have to have? How many people in Congress and the Senate and the House and who sit in the judiciary who don't deserve to be there, who don't represent the people? Why are they gerrymandering these districts? I know the Democrats did that too, but the Republicans took it to an art form. They understand that they cannot win on the basis of their class war ideals. They know it. That's why they pretend to be Democrats. That's why Trump ran as in a lot of ways as a left winger, but with a lot of racism. So he was for the working class. He was for tariffs, for free fair trade, right? But with a lot of racism on top. So I always say, and that's why I knew that there was a study recently saying that the Trumpanzees, it's not that they're economically insecure. That's of course the tedious argument that we keep hearing. Oh, it's that Trump tapped into the economic security of the white working class. He tapped into their racism, because if they were economically insecure, they would have went for Bernie, because Bernie was legitimately for the same working class ideals without the racism. But Trump's morons like it. There's no difference. I know I say this, it's the truth. Under the right circumstances, the Republican red hats would be the brown shirts. There's no doubt in my mind. And you see them. You see them now. You see what they're capable of. And the lies. So not only so this is why we're in big trouble too, because the Republican Party, they don't want to learn a lesson. They're not looking at themselves in the mirror. They're not like Lee Atwater. They're not saying, "Wait, hold on here. I have really, really harmed my country. Look at what I've done." They sent bombs to former presidents of the United States. This is a terrorist attack on magnitude with 9/11, with Timothy McVeigh, with with the 92 World Trade Center bombing. The trauma of this, but you see how the Republican Party, they're not looking to learn a lesson. They're looking to deflect blame. And in fact, Trump, he is the victim. As I just said, he's the victim of this whole thing because they had a lot of momentum, the Republican Party, because they pushed this Kavanaugh drunk, this unworthy sexual assaulter into the Supreme Court, despite everything, despite the fact that he's yelling about revenge of the Clintons, and despite the testimony that of his behavior and his lies, the provable lies that he committed, the perjury that he continually committed on his way to this lifetime appointment. That doesn't, and so they had all that, they framed him as a victim because nothing gets the Republican Party motivated by except hatred of the other, but nothing gets them motivated like that. What am I trying to say? As much as being a victim, they are the victims. They basically suffer from professional victimitis, and it's so tedious. And that's another reason why they're unfit. They're literally unfit to hold leadership positions in a modern nation because they lack the emotional maturity. Everything that happens, they're the victim. It's the media. It's me. They're mean to me. They're because they tell the truth. He thinks, "Oh, I do the greatest thing for this country." What is so great about killing hibernating bears? You fat piece of shit. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say that. What is so great about? I don't mean to fat shame. Maybe I do. Yeah, he needs to be shamed. I don't care. He doesn't even care anyway. What does he care? He looks like shit now. I don't mean to be so base, but the fact is, he's in the Oval Office. He's up in in his private quarters during executive time, and he is harassing the White House staff for hamburgers at all hours of the night. This is the king baby here. And he's getting fatter because he can't control himself. He's very sick. He's a sick person. He's emotionally unstable. So he's just eating and emotionally, and he's up at all hours of the night tweeting, and he's upset that they're telling the truth about him. That is the role of the press. So then we have the Republican Party going out, and not only they were saying that the bombs were a false flag, basically guaranteeing that we've learned nothing here. This will continue. They are, and the other thing is, it's both sides are to blame for the vitriol. Bullshit. It's one side. It's their side. Of course, you can't blame. There are mentally ill people, but you can blame the Republican Party for creating the conditions for mentally ill people to be activated, and That's what they're doing. And it's not that, it's not like there's no comparison between the guy who shot Steve Scalise and this MAGA bomber, because not only is Bernie, can you show me where Bernie said, go and be violent towards those who disagree? But there were no lies involved either. Bernie was never lying to people. So you can't, and the other thing, Bernie was, and is working for Americans to have access to health care, including mental health care. So you have, Republicans have created the perfect storm here. They have created hatred against others. They've turned this country into an armed madhouse, and they've also made it impossible for people who are mentally ill or physically ill to get access to care. So here we are out here, and this is another thing that they keep saying about, when I talk about universal health care, when I see these Republicans tweeting, oh, Democrats want immigrants, illegals to get health care. I want everybody to get health care, you ghouls. You know why, too? Because the fact is, a lot of corporations hire people without documents because they could treat them as second-class citizens, clearly, and they can't do anything about it because they can't take any... and there's no documents. They can't, they can't complain. So they can treat them horribly. They can exploit them. But I do want them to, I don't want that happening, first of all. But I also, if they're here, I would like them to have health care, because that's how shit spreads, you morons. So you have somebody who's handling your food, who's got different kinds of diseases. You don't know if they're sick. You don't want them to be sick. You want them to get help if they're sick, rather than be at work, right? Like serving your food or doing something, and that's what they don't see. But the whole point is, that's not even the point. Are we human beings or not? Are we human? And I don't know. I mean, I know I am. But this is what it means to live under fascism. We are constantly batting away the lies, and it's not just Donald Trump. He's got an entire party of sycophants working to enable him. And Sarah Sanders, she was chased out of a restaurant. There is no comparison between Sarah Sanders not being able to enjoy her meal and a former president of the United States being potentially blown up with bombs. There is no comparison. And the other thing is, I don't want to hear they're saying, this is on both sides, this vitriol, they can't even go to restaurants. Well, what the hell is the appropriate response to putting babies in cages? Are we just supposed to let these fascist freaks go about their business unchallenged? I don't think so. And that is what Maxine Waters was saying. And that is what those who were going to serve Sarah Sanders at a restaurant, these were gays who were working in the kitchen, the gay chef and the other gay people that worked at the restaurant. They didn't want to work. They didn't want to serve this pig who works every single day as a liar and a propagandist for an administration that is actively attacking the gay community and turning back the clock on all our hard work. That is right now trying in the Health and Human Services defining transgendered, right? So they're taking away all the rights of they want us to define ourselves by our peepees, you see. So they could, and it goes deeper and deeper, because it's also another backdoor way of saying that, they're saying that in the womb, by the time you're born, they want to trace our life into, they're basically trying to control women's bodies. And I know I'm babbling a little bit, but that's what right now. I didn't expect to talk about this so I don't really have anything prepared. That's why it sounds a little disjointed. The fact is, one of the things that the Republicans are doing are they're redefining. They're attacking transgender. They're attacking the human species, frankly, because your sexuality is in your brain. It's not in your peepees. So I know they're like the peepee patrol, right? They want to know what kind of peepee you have, so you can go to take your peepee to the right bathroom, and they want to know what kind of peepee you have. If you're if you want to make a legal marriage contract, they want you to have the appropriate combination of peepees. This is what they're concerned with. The freedom lovers, because they love freedom. They don't want big government in your business, right? But they want big government to take a look down your pants and into your crotch. They need the peepees documented. And so when somebody is born and they say, guess what? My brain says I'm a man when I'm a woman, or whatever, or vice versa, or whatever. That is part of the human experience. But these people, they're not humans. They don't give a shit. They want you to see. That's why there's a high incidence of suicide in not just the gay community, but also the transgendered community. And to be transgendered and to come out as yourself in this world with all these freaks takes more courage than these cowards could ever muster in 1,000 lifetimes. So that's why they go after transgendered Americans or human beings, because they're cowards and bullies, and that's why they can't be trusted with power. So, because look at what they do with it. This is the world that they have given us. You want to know what's working or not? Know them by their fruits. Look at what they've done. Look at the world is your mirror. If you don't like what you see, you don't break the mirror, you fix your face. And we have an opportunity in just over a week to fix this effing image that we are projecting out onto the world, and because it's a goddamn ugly image. Are we proud of what we see? I know we're not. I'm not. Normal people are not. And I can't imagine. What's so unbelievable to me and depressing is that when I see things like that Trump is up in the polls or whatever. I mean, how stupid and ignorant do you have to be? I know that sounds like the same thing. How selfish. Like on the, actually when I was watching the media reports today, one of the things that really irritated me was one of the reporters on MSNBC said, about the murder in the synagogue, about this anti-Semitic freak, was saying how Ivanka and Jared are Jewish and they're practicing Jews. They're observant Jews, in fact, because Saturday is the Sabbath. This is what they were saying. And they practice, they don't turn on the lights or whatever they do. I don't know, whatever. And that's on them. But so this is why this is so dear to them. It must be so upsetting for them, for Ivanka and Jared, to see that these murders have taken place because they're also Jewish. Well, you know what? This is what it's come to in this country. So you only give a shit about something if it affects you directly, if it has some kind of selfish correlation to your own personal little myopic tiny world. So I don't give a shit because, I'm not Jewish. So, must be rough on them. What is wrong with that picture? But that's the Republican way. And it's not normal, people. It's just not normal to not give a shit unless you're somehow could see yourself in the situation. No, we're all in this together. And it's so irritating. That's the Republican way. They only see, well, you know what, it's like, how many Republicans have you seen? Like, there's like one guy who didn't vote against the gay marriage or whatever. Oh, well, you know, my son is gay and I'm, you know, oh, well, he gets a pass because, and then, oh, well, you know, my mother had a pre-existing condition and I see, you know, well, fuck you. Guess what? We're all in this together. So, oh, now you care because you can see how it affects you. Well, what the hell part of e pluribus unum don't you understand, bitch? Out of many one. You don't, you know, get yourself out, get your head out of your own ass and take a look around. Because if one person is denied health care because of a pre-existing condition, we are all denied health care, you myopic little freaks. If somebody can't go to a synagogue or a church or anywhere, can't go out of their house and congregate with fellow human beings, with other humans, then we're all in danger of being in danger, of not having a decent life, of not having a life. Oh, Christ. You see what I'm saying? It's so irritating to me, these filthy Republicans. This is what they have turned us into. Why shouldn't we care about all of us? If we can't go to school, oh, well, I don't care. I don't go to school. What does it matter if somebody gets shot in school? No, bitch. It matters to everyone. Because we are in this together. What's the point of having a country? This is what I don't understand with these Republicans. What do they love about America? They certainly hate about everyone in it, except themselves, right? Like this killer, the guy, the MAGA bomber. And that's the other thing. They were saying, oh, well, the attorney for the MAGA bomber's family was on TV today saying that this guy, you know, he's unemployed, he's on welfare, he's on, you know, they all take advantage of the social safety net that liberals created for them. Right? But it's just, they can't handle it for somebody else. And also the attorney was saying that he found daddy with Trump. That's it. And there you go. That's fascism in a nutshell. Same thing that Kanye West said, which, curiously enough, Kanye West said that Trump was like his daddy, right? But this guy, and that's fascism. It's the authoritarian daddy to save them from the scary, complex world of others who don't know their place. So, all right, I'm looking at the time. Hold on. And so Poppy Champlin is going to call in the second hour. That'd be nice. Calm me down a little bit. Why do I need to be calm, though? Why should we be calm? There's no reason. We need to be aggravated and motivated to get the hell out. Don't you want to relax, though, right? Relax when we are through fascism. When we can look back and say, that sucked, but I'm glad we fought like hell and we got rid of those fascists. Because they're not capable of functioning in a free democratic society. They really aren't. And they prove it every single day. With everything that they do. They talk about the lies. Here's the thing, when they're talking about the both sides bullshit, don't buy it. Don't buy we have to tamp this down. We don't have to tamp down shit, because what is the proper response to lies? When somebody says, when you have not just Trump, because Trump seems to get away with every effing lie he says, but then you have Mitch McConnell and Chuck Grassley saying that, well, you know, it's quite possible. And the frickin', I'm trying not to curse, as you can say, but vice president, the Christian Taliban vice president, confirming, well, it's statistically impossible that a caravan doesn't have Middle Easterners in it. I mean, these people are so full of shit. And the lies, Chuck Grassley and the rest of them saying, well, yeah, that's what I heard. George Soros is funding this caravan because of the globalists or whatever. They're all in it together. So when you have, it's not just Trump, all of them. They are. It's like Hitler and Goebbels and whatever the rest of them. All the Nazi high command. That's them right there in a nutshell. All racing around, covering the ass of Twitler. So when he comes out and he says, Twitler comes out and says, we're making this middle-class tax cut. It's coming in 10 days or whatever. It's like they all rush around like chickens with their head cut off, trying to, giving the thumbs up, trying to act like this is a real thing. You see what I'm saying? These people are fascists. This is how much they hate this country. And that's how much they count on the stupidity of Americans not to care. That's how stupid they think you are. So they talk about this caravan, and, Kanye says Trump is his daddy. The Meg Obama was looking for a daddy. And you know what? As I have been saying for years that Republicans lack the maturity to function in a free democratic society. And they need an authoritarian daddy to save them from democracy. That's what they want. And when they say they love America, they love white nationalism. It has always been right there, right below the surface. So when Trump says, I'm a nationalist, he doesn't know what the F he's talking about. I'm a nationalist. He knows what he's talking about. He knows he's giving the, a hand job to Nazis. And they're ecstatic. They're ecstatic about it. That's how you know, are you on the right side of history and humanity? Because if you're voting for a group of, you're voting for Republicans because you like a tax cut. First of all, if you're not a billionaire, you're not getting a tax cut. You're just an idiot. And there's nothing, the Republicans are doing nothing for you. The stock market is great. That's, stay tuned. There's only so much we can ride this baby, until it's going off the rails. So there's only so many what are they talking about? The regulations. What regulations? The regulations that prevented a lot of people from losing their retirements, from these greedy Wall Street banksters from stealing and turning everything into a casino, that moving numbers around on a balance sheet, like coming up with with an algorithm in a computer program that with high frequency trade. This is what they're doing. They're not creating anything. They're just fudging numbers. Like it's like there was a game show that where you got into a machine with all the dollars and you had to grab as many as you could. That's what it's like until the machine stops, and then you're like, that's what they're trying to do. So just allowing companies to spew coal ash into streams and hunters to kill hibernating bears and white nationalists to run rampant through the streets does not make America great. It turns us into a shithole. That's the shithole country. And just like, they said everything Trump touches dies. That is what we're seeing right here. The American democracy is dying. And if we don't get it back in the midterms, it's going to be done. It totally is going to be over. So, the Trumpanzees, really, they're the ultimate snowflakes. You know what I mean? Because they need a daddy. They need their daddy to save them, right? So they always talk about how left-wingers are snowflakes. We are strong because we're capable of functioning with diverse people that aren't just like us. We cherish the rule of law. We extend protections to everyone. You know what I mean? We see the humanity in others, and we value it and try to extend the same courtesies we want for ourselves to others. There's nothing stronger than that. You know, and there's nothing weaker than a bunch of little white whiners who've had everything handed to them, whining that somebody else is getting what they're getting or wants a seat at the table. Because I really believe that they think that if all things were equal, if everyone had the same opportunities as them, that we'd all see just how inadequate they really are. And then it's like I know for a fact. I mean, you really just know. Like Donald Trump Jr. What would he be doing if he didn't have his trust fund, or even just Donald Trump? You know, Donald Trump Jr. Just think about what he would be doing without his trust fund. He is a parasite sucking off the host, and But this is how they are immoral, because he's got absolutely no gratitude. He thinks he earned it. You see what I'm saying? Rather than he was handed everything, but somewhere in his sick little heart, he thinks he earned it. Right? So anyway, all right. I'm going to take a break. We're going to watch or listen to the Green News Report with Brad and Desi, and then Labor History in 2 with Rick Smith. So it'll be about 8 minutes. And then we will be back. And what the fuck is going on? And then we will have Poppy, hopefully. All right? So I will see you guys on the other side. My name is Tara Devlin. Buy some merchandise at the RDT Daily Resistance Merchandise Store, and I'll see you on the other side.
Now, the top of the hour on the Progressive Voices channel on TuneIn presents the Green News Report.
Another major hurricane gaining strength. Hurricane Willa off the west coast of Mexico, with impacts that could be felt in Texas later this week.
Mexico braces for powerful Hurricane Willa, and so does Central Texas. September was the 4th hottest September ever recorded. Plus,
we're going to move on to climate change. I'll tell you, we receive more questions on this than any other topic.
Climate change and clean energy are on the ballot in November and even in the debates.
What are the odds? All of those stories and more straight ahead. From BradBlog.com, I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
Stand by for 6 minutes of independent green news, politics, analysis, and snarky comment.
Unless we make drastic changes immediately, climate change will destroy the world for the next generation. Sorry, next generation. Let's see you fidget spin your way out of this one.
This is your Green News Report. Okie dokie, Desi Doyen. It looks like the hurricane season is not over yet. Not by a long shot.
No, it is not. As we go to air, Mexico's west coast is bracing for landfall from powerful Hurricane Willa, which the National Hurricane Center warned on Monday had seen, quote, explosive, rapid intensification all the way up to a Category 5.
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yes, rapid intensification is linked to global warming. Willa is forecast to weaken before landfall in western Mexico on Tuesday before moving north to bring even more rain into an already flooded central Texas.
And some of the weather guys I follow very closely on Twitter are looking at this storm and thinking that these remnants in Texas could make their way to the East Coast, combined with another storm, and we could be looking at a pretty big storm late in the week on the East Coast.
September 2018 was the 4th hottest September on record globally. That's according to scientists at NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That means that every September since 2013 2013 has been ranked among the warmest Septembers ever recorded. NOAA also says that the period from January to September of this year was also the fourth warmest such period on record. 2018 as a whole is likely to be the fourth hottest year ever recorded, meaning that the four hottest years on record have all occurred in the last 4 years.
The climate's changing. The climate always changes.
That's what Republicans say.
It is. Is it untrue?
Well, the climate is changing. What matters is what makes it change, and this time it's us.
And this time it's not taking millions of years. It's taking just a few decades.
Yep. Meanwhile, in the crucial November 6th midterm elections...
There's an election on November 6th?
Yes, there's an election on November 6th.
I hadn't heard.
Climate change has finally become a real live question in debates. Last week, reporters pressed incumbent Republican Senator Ted Cruz on his denial of climate science in a Senate debate with Democratic nominee Congressman Beto O'Rourke.
And, of course, Cruz said...
Of course the climate is changing. The climate has been changing from the dawn of time. The climate will change as long as we have a planet Earth.
Yes, he did. On Sunday, in a debate for the Florida governor's seat, Democratic nominee and Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum criticized both his Republican opponent, Representative Ron DeSantis, and the state's current Republican governor, Rick Scott, over their work to suppress the solar industry in the state, over their failure to address the root causes of record toxic algae blooms that have caused massive fish kills and hammered Florida's tourism industry, and over their failure to address rising sea levels caused by global warming.
That's a lot of failure.
Here's Gillum in Sunday's debate.
What Florida voters need to know is that when they elect me governor, they're going to have a governor who believes in science, which we haven't had for quite some time in this state. I'm not sure what is so California about believing that the state of Florida ought to lead in solar energy. We're known as the Sunshine State. At the very least, what we can do is be a global leader here.
Well, yes, they can, and Florida certainly should, given that they're feeling so many impacts from climate change. It's interesting, however, that both DeSantis and Cruz have charged that their Democratic opponents want to turn the state into California.
Yeah, it's weird.
What's so bad about California? It's fantastic out here, except for the wildfires and earthquakes, but... Anyway.
And in the debate for the race for Virginia's 7th congressional district, former CIA officer turned Democratic House candidate Abigail Spanberger debunked the multiple false claims of her opponent, the incumbent Republican Representative Dave Bratt, on environmental standards and clean energy.
First world countries around the world have clean air and water because the government puts regulations in place to protect them. To say that the left doesn't understand growth is ridiculous because, in fact, when we invest in environmental policies, we see strong job growth.
And renewable energy is also on the ballot. A new report from the Energy and Policy Institute finds that the utility industry is spending big for the November 6th midterm elections, with large election-related donations to Republicans and right-wing dark money groups. Utility spending to Republican groups outstripped Democratic groups more than 2-1.
For much more on all of these stories and the ones we couldn't get to today, please check out our website at greennews.bradblog.com. Find us, follow us, and share us planet-wide on the Facebooks and the Twitters at Green News Report. I'm Brad Friedman.
And I'm Desi Doyen.
And this has been your Green News Report.
Money, money, money must be funny in the rich man's world.
Please help Progressive Voices support the Green News Report by stopping by bradblog.com/donate.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1837. That was the day that Louisa Lee Schuyler was born in New York City. She was dedicated to the causes of public health and welfare, especially for the poor. This led her to help found the Bellevue Training School for Nurses in 1873. It was the first nurses' school in the United States based on the principles of Florence Nightingale, the English social reformer who established modern nursing practices. Louisa had become concerned with the conditions found at the city's public hospitals. Along with 3 other women, she toured Bellevue Hospital, finding poor lighting, dire sanitary conditions, and even a laundry that had run out of soap. The women wrote up a report about their findings. They made the case that a professionally trained nursing staff would help remedy the situation. The work of women during the Civil War had shown the potentially important role of nurses in providing medical care. The women's request was approved on a trial basis at Bellevue. Bellevue Hospital had opened its doors in 1736, making it the oldest continually running public hospital in the United States. The first class of nurses included just 6 women. Early training focused on improving sanitary conditions at the hospital and seeing to patient comfort. But instruction grew quickly to include basic medical training. By 1879, enrollment had grown to more than 60 trainees. Proud of their accomplishments, graduates wore a school pin. Designed by Tiffany & Company, the pin portrayed a crane in the middle of a wreath of poppies. The school operated for nearly a century, until the training program was incorporated into Hunter College. For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at laborhistoryin2.
All right, everybody, welcome back. My name is Tara Devlin, and I am here every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. 6 to 8 Eastern on the RDT Daily Facebook and YouTube channels, and rebroadcast on Progressive Voices on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, or on the Progressive Voices app, and GDPR Revolution 99, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, all everywhere. Just help us grow, donate, buy some merch at the RDT Daily store. You can go to rdtdaily.com, and there's a merchandise link that takes you to our Shopify store. There's some really great designs, Trump balloon, Trump turd, a lot of resist stuff. Also, Francis Jr., our mascot, shirts, mugs, a lot of crap you don't need. No, I'm only kidding. It's good stuff. Fun gifts. There's also a baby bodysuit that says, "I am less of a baby than the so-called president." I like that one personally. That's a good gift for any little resistor. If you go to a baby shower, we're going to need all the help we can get. So bring those babies up right, people. So, all right, make them normal. Hate is taught. Hate of others is something that you were taught. And I do believe that we are. That's how we were talking about this a couple weeks ago about PTSD and war. That I know that human beings, we have our struggles. We're effed up, but we are not meant to be in conflict. Because if we were, we wouldn't have such adverse mental and psychological effects from war. We wouldn't have flashbacks. We wouldn't have PTSD. We don't get those adverse after effects from love. Maybe I do, but not if it was going the right way. If you're truly in love and you're connecting, that's what we want. We want to connect with other people, and we don't want to hurt them. That's why we're not meant to have that. We're not meant to be in conflict. And that's why as a collective in government, when we get together to govern our society, we want to bring out the best in each other, not the worst. And that's why you don't vilify segments of society. And that's how you know if a politician is working in your best interest. Are they saying it's their fault? These people are doing it. These are rapists. These are a cabal of globalists. No, that's how you know that they're effing evil. And I don't want to say speaking of evil. No, we have Poppy on the phone. She's not evil. She is Poppy Champlin. She is the opposite of evil. Thank God, because I need it. Hold on, Poppy. Fuck, unmute. Poppy, are you?
Yeah.
Poppy, can you hear me? Poppy, come
Speaking
in, Poppy.
of evil.
I know. I was trying to find a. I was talking about evil. I'm like, I don't want to be like. And speaking of evil, here is Poppy is the opposite of evil. That's the whole thing. Poppy's actually a nice person, and she's like a happy person and a normal person. And so that's good. That's why I'm glad you're here.
Keep going a little bit. far there. You're going a little too far.
Maybe not normal. I don't know. You seem happy.
Yeah.
But,
You're happy, optimistic, but, today has just been brutal.
I know. Yeah.
And I got to go do a show tonight, and I'm like, oh, fuck, man.
I know.
You can't, what happened, the synagogue thing? It's like, what? And for Trump to say, hey, the guard should have been armed. I'm like, no, he did not just say that.
Well, that's it. That's how you know that they really don't have the best interests of America at heart, because they're not actually looking for solutions to our problems. They're just peddling the same bullshit. Of course they're going to say, we need to arm more people. We need more guards. We need more of this. It's like, more tax cuts. More bullshit. More of our bullshit. That's what we need. The same bullshit that put us in the fucking situation. Let's do more of that.
I mean, to have two nutbags in 2 days.
Right.
Or is it 2 days? I mean, it's crazy. It's like, oh no, it's really. I feel like it's unraveling a little bit.
It is, but it's
But
and then to have Trump say that it's the media's fault because they're not sufficiently kissing his ass enough. And in his world, he thinks that, well, we should all just, the purpose of the media is to praise him. This is that's what he thinks. And that's the same system that the founders fought a revolution to escape. You know what I mean? So that's there. And then you have the thing that's really disturbing is when you watch the Trump, the rallies, when he goes to these goddamn
rallies.
When they're all the people in the back, I always look at them and I wonder. It's like sometimes, when you look at historical photographs of Nazis and the crowds or whatever, I wonder one day if they'll be looking at those people like that. Like, wow. I don't have a doubt that they will, frankly. That history is not going to be kind to them, I think, personally.
Well, you know what is bothering me, too, is these Proud Boys.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about the Proud Boys?
Yes.
That's scary to me because that's like, okay, they're a mob, and now they have a name for themselves.
Right.
And now there's a magnet for a bunch of other nut jobs to join in with, and Trump pretty soon will probably call out their names.
Right,
soon.
as very fine people. Yeah.
Yeah. And when he was doing his rally the other day, and he's like, "I'm behaving. Am I behaving? Look at me. I'm behaving." He goes, "But I don't have to. Maybe I won't so much behave in a little while." Or you know what I mean?
Right.
It was like a threat.
Right, because he's a child, and. Yeah, no, that's what it was, and that's why everything that he says is bullshit, because he's like, we all have to unify, and I'm looking at the GOP Twitter feed, which, I just want to vomit. They're constantly tweeting out Trump's, quote, saying, we have to unify, it's like, shut the fuck up.
The ones that he didn't write.
Right.
Yeah, the ones that he didn't write that.
No.
He doesn't believe that.
Right, but it's just like, what does it matter what he says? And then on MSNBC or whatever, they're like, oh, we're standing by for a press conference with the president. Like, who cares? So he comes out and reads, something off a teleprompter, like, this is we need to get together. And you know that in about 30 seconds, it's all going to be just null and void because he's just going to say something stupid as soon as he can read a teleprompter. Wait, I have a video. Hold on a sec. There's a
of that.
Yeah, there's of him. Let me see. Do I have this? Fuck me.
You have that one of him saying, "I'm going to behave," because it was like, oh my God, he's like. But, any minute I'm going to call out the Proud Boys on you if you're not careful.
No, I don't have that. I don't. I actually was going to, trying to grab that one, but here's one of...
Yeah. No nation can succeed that tolerates violence or the threat of violence as a method of political intimidation, coercion, or control. Any guy that can do a body slam, he's my kind. Such conduct must be fiercely opposed and firmly prosecuted. All right, yeah, get him out. Try not to hurt him. If you do, I'll defend you in court. We want all sides to come together in peace and harmony. A future under democratic mob rule would be a total catastrophe. Those engaged in the political arena must stop treating political opponents as being morally defective. I've been going around lately saying the Democrats are the party of crime. No one should carelessly compare political opponents.
Anyway, I'm getting some kind of feedback, but it was just some video that was put together, but with the contradictions. But that's what it's like. He says one thing, and then there's just the exact opposite. So what does it matter? Our heads are spinning anyway, and shut up. You're the problem. He is the problem.
I thought Reagan was the Antichrist, but I think we found him.
Mm-hmm. No, we definitely did.
I think we have found our Antichrist finally.
Totally. No, he is.
I mean, if we're living there's a lot of people that think we're living in the end times, and he certainly is proving to be an Antichrist right now.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty dramatic, but it's serious.
Right. And it's funny because you're supposed to be the optimist here, right? And you're
I know.
I think these are the end times.
Well, this could be, but let me just switch the subject for a second. I have a costume right here that I'm about to wear to a costume party tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid of my own costume.
What is it?
Because it's a package bomb. Like, I am the package bomb.
Shit. Poppy. That's amazing.
Is that bad? Is that bad?
No, I mean, I don't know, it might be too soon, but yeah. No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
You're
too soon, yeah. I mean, here's the return. It's addressed to the courthouse Halloween party.
That's awesome.
Because that's where I have to go.
Oh my God! No, that's good. I think it's.
And
good.
then the return address is to Mitch No Nick McConnell. Ted, get your head out of your ass cruise. Donald, dirty, delusional, deceitful Trump.
That's good.
Bart, beer busted Kavanaugh. Lindsay, the ultimate cracker Graham. Orrin, oh my God, what hatch.
That's
and
good.
Chuck, get off my Grassley. And Jeff, buy some ball sessions. Chuck Grassley, man, he was just, I'm the one who has order here. I say what goes on, not you, and not you. He sounds like the guy from It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
It's me, of course.
Right. He's horrible. I just look at him like, shit, he is really beyond his cell date, that guy. Why is he,
Come on. Totally.
It's like he should, he's old. Come on, people. He's too effing old.
He was just horrendous. Also, I wanted to make jokes about the bomber. I don't know if it's too soon.
Well,
but,
I mean, it's not bad because nobody died. If somebody was hurt, it would be a different story. But yeah, they caught him and nobody.
Well, it's almost old news already.
I know, right? It's so true, and
right?
but that's what's so scary, right? It's that it's like and it's also the other thing. That's another thing I wanted to say too about that. It's almost like it's okay because he was targeting Democrats. Now, could you imagine if this guy was targeting Republicans and he was, let's say, Muslim or something? What would be going on in this country right now?
There would be riots.
Yeah,
riots.
These Republicans, what would they be doing at this point? What would they do?
Riots.
This whole effing country would be shut down. We'd have martial law. Yeah, there would be no doubt. There's no doubt. But the fact that it's Democrats, that it's and it's former presidents, former Secretary of State, the people in the media, and think about all of the postal workers that were in danger, and sitting senators and congresspeople. It's I
know
it's outrageous. And the other thing is too is that they found out about the bomb at George Soros's house a few days prior, and that just was like a nothing news story. It was like, they found a bomb at George Soros' house. And then a couple of days later, there were more bombs. But it was like, if it was just the bomb at George Soros' house, oh, well, because that asshole was still out there saying that George Soros is funding this caravan, which is one of the things that this anti-Semitic murderer, this guy, was saying was one of the things that he was railing against, apparently, on his Twitter feed, was that he was mad that the globalists and the Jews, like George Soros, was funding the caravan, which is a fucking lie. So it's scary. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I think that he was just upset that he was living in a caravan called his own van. He was
True.
He was living in a van by the river.
Right. It's true.
He didn't even put the correct amount of money on the packages. Some of them were returned with postage due. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. That's
50
that's typical.
50 cents that got returned.
That's amazing. Well, but then you have the other thing the Republicans were saying of course, a lot of them were saying that this is a false flag operation. I mean, it's right out of Putin's playbook. Not just the whataboutism, but the whole fake news, and that there's just this whole, like, what the fuck are Democrats? We're trying to give you health care, assholes, not create false flags of, I mean, we're too busy stopping you pricks from taking away health care from people with pre-existing conditions. We're not making bombs, assholes.
Setting up this guy.
It's insane. And that's why I think, like, that's why they have to lie. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just nothing but lies. And to turn Democrats when we're just fighting for a decent life for everyone, regardless of whether they were born with, on third base thinking they hit a triple, or whether they were born gay or born transgender or whatever, everyone.
Oh, that's getting bad.
Yeah. That's what I was just saying in the first hour. Because they're reclassifying the sex, as your pee-pee. So you have to, it's all about your pee-pee.
People can be born with two sets of genitalia.
And that happens a lot.
It should be up to them to choose which set they want to work with.
That's it. That is because your sexuality is in your brain, but these little tiny assholes, they don't get it. Not that they care either. They don't believe in science.
Yeah, they don't care.
They believe in a giant man on a cloud making a list of who's naughty and who's not, and a man on top of it. That's the other thing. I think, like, a man on a cloud? Why does he have to be a man? It's like he's got a penis? Like, I don't understand. Why does it have to be a man? Like, why would a giant cloud being...
That's Catholicism.
It's so irritating. Like, why would a giant cloud being need a man? He's got a Y chromosome? Need a penis. He's got, like, it's so arrogant that this giant cloud being is just a giant, more... bigger asshole than you are. Not you, Poppy, but, than right-wingers.
Oh, yeah, I'm the axis of evil.
No. Anyway.
No, I understand. I don't understand. Catholicism, created patriotism, patriarchy.
Yeah.
And now we're with the women, with the Me Too and the standing up and everything. We're trying to say no. We're tired of the goddamn patriarchy.
Right.
And now men are fighting back, saying, "Hold on, we're gonna lose control of these women,
right.
and we're gonna lose our bread and butter. They got to cook for us and they got to clean for us, and where'd that system go?"
Right. That's true. They want to be on top of something, right? Their whole. And that's how I always say it's just how inadequate they really are, and how they're just cowards,
Well, that's what
privilege.
the Proud Boys said that they stand for. The Proud Boys said they stand for. They want the men to take back their masculinity and redefine masculinity, and so that they can provide for women, so women don't have to work.
Right,
well,
right,
fuck you,
right,
man.
right.
I don't need that shit anymore.
Right. Who the fuck asked you, right? You know what I mean? It's like, that's what but that's what these fascists do. They're just another wing of they're just the brown shirts and the fascists, because
let us think for the women.
Right.
We want to think for the women, like we always used to.
Yep. And that's what fascism is like, toxic masculinity gone rampant.
Yeah.
And they're into physical fitness, and I saw some video about them, and I thought it looks really gay to me, frankly, because they're all like working out together.
Yeah, it did look pretty gay. It totally did.
It did. They're all like shirtless and like getting sweaty, and like, but there's a lot of this homoerotica because they hate themselves too, and they want to be a part of something, and it's just so twisted, really, for these dumb little fuckers to try to tell the whole fucking world what to do with their lives. Like, women,
But they can't progress. They can't move on.
Because they're that inadequate. That's what it is. It's like they are that inadequate that they have to control the outside world. And it's the same thing with homophobia. It's like, that's why you could throw a rock in the friggin' Republican convention and like hit a closet case, because they're projecting, they hate themselves that much, so they project it outwards, and that's why they get involved with the organization that is working to limit freedom, to limit gay rights. Because if people aren't gay, they're not out there flaunting it, they don't have to be tempted. And there was, I remember this one guy, I wish I had grabbed it, but there's a video of one of these anti-gay fuckers, and he was saying, gays are just hedonists. They're just hedonists. And, but to me, it sounded like, what do you mean they're just hedonists? Because hedonists, because they're just giving in to their desires. And that showed me that guy is definitely a closet case, because he thinks that everybody must feel like he feels, wanting to fuck another guy, and he just doesn't act on it because he loves Jesus, and gays are just giving into it. That's what it is. They've done a million studies that being a homophobe is the telltale sign that you're a closet case. But if only these fuckers would get help for their sickness. Yeah, for real, they need help. They need help.
If only they could have as much sex as a gay man could, maybe they would shut up.
It's true. And
gay men can have as much sex as they want. They can have sex, and they do. They do have a lot of sex. And unfortunately, that was a bad thing that happened in the 80s. But
that's a different story. Yeah.
That's not happening anymore.
Right.
But I gotta go.
All right. Well, because you're going to that party with your costume, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really
That's great.
scared.
No, it's going to be fun. You're going to be like, I think you'll win. Is there a contest?
Yeah, scariest contest. But I have to do comedy first.
You're
I'm
probably
not allowed to be in the contest. Huh?
You're not allowed to be in the contest. Oh, but
probably not.
Yeah, probably, because you're not. Yeah, because it's like cheating then. So, but you're going to be the life of the party. That's going to be great. Everybody's going to laugh. You're fine.
You don't think it's too much?
No, it's great.
I'm going to say what you said though. Too soon? Yeah, that's a good joke.
Right. It's not even 48 hours. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say I'm going to have a blast. I'm the bomb. Oh,
that's
what
awesome. Yeah, that's great. No, you're going to kill.
You know what else? Like those bombs weren't even going to go off unless the person that he sent them to actually lit the fuse themselves.
Oh, really? I thought it was like they opened it or something, and then that like triggered it or something. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't think so. Well, we don't know yet.
Well, he's not. Well, that's one of the excuses the Republicans were saying. Oh, well, he's either the worst bomb maker ever, or he's a false flag. Fuck you. And that's hence activating more morons to run out there and commit more violence, because they think like, oh, Democrats are they're committing false flags now. I mean, like, what?
Oh my God.
It's really the downfall. It's unbelievable. So,
Well,
all right,
I'm digging my bomb shelter now.
all right. Well, I'm going in. I'm going up there. I'll be with you. You better
All right, I'll
make
save
room
you a
for
spot.
me. All right, Poppy. Poppy Champlin,
All right.
everyone. Where do you want?
Have a good rest of the show.
Yes.
And say it hard. It's a hard Champlin, not Champlin. It's a hard Champlin.
Champlin. Sorry. I know. I
Yeah.
should know these things. Champlin.
No.
Poppy Champlin.
And
And
you're from Long Island. You
I
don't,
know.
You don't know how to say it.
what's your website, Poppy? I forgot.
My website's my name, poppychamplin.com.
Okay, cool. Well, everybody go there and go see Poppy. All right?
Hey.
But you'll be back. You'll be back. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. Poppy Champlin. Say it right. Say it right. All right. So anyway, what else I wanted to talk about? We have some time. Let me just put on the lower third here. Where is it? So you guys can follow me. Here we go. On Twitter at Real Tara Devlin or RDT Daily. Follow both and buy some merchandise. I'm telling you, I'm getting really taking it personal here. All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about too was Megyn Kelly and the blackface controversy. How she's fired apparently because she didn't understand that why white people couldn't walk around in blackface for Halloween. Let me play the video that this is a clip from the show where she says the blackface comment and then her apology. So just watch this and we'll talk about it.
And I have to give you a fair warning. I'm a little fired up over Halloween costumes this morning. Have you seen it? I mean, truly, political correctness has gone amok. There are strict rules on what you may and may not wear issued by someone who thinks they're the boss of you.
But what is racist? Because truly, you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface
Yes.
for Halloween, or a black person who puts on whiteface for
Yes.
Halloween. Like back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as like a character.
If somebody feels like something is offensive to them, then you should say it, and that's fair game.
Yeah, and
you should be able to take it if you're going to dress up like that.
Yeah, you got to be able to take it.
Yeah, one of the things I mentioned.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Megyn Kelly, and I want to begin with 2 words. I'm sorry. You may have heard that yesterday we had a discussion here about political correctness and Halloween costumes. And that conversation turned to whether it is ever okay for a person of one race to dress up as another. A black person making their face lighter or a white person making theirs darker to make a costume complete. I defended the idea, saying as long as it was respectful and part of a Halloween costume, it seemed okay. Well, I was wrong, and I am sorry. One of the great parts of sitting in this chair each day is getting to discuss different points of view. Sometimes I talk and sometimes I listen. And yesterday I learned. I learned that given the history of blackface being used in awful ways by racists in this country, it is not okay for that to be part of any costume, Halloween or otherwise. I have never been a PC kind of person. But I do understand the value in being sensitive to our history, particularly on race and ethnicity. This past year has been so painful for many people of color. The country feels so divided, and I have no wish to add to that pain and offense. I believe this is a time for more understanding, more love, more sensitivity, and honor. And I want to be part of that. Thank you for listening and for helping me listen too.
And then the audience is applauding, giving her a standing ovation. She's crying. So at the age of 47, Megyn Kelly learned that wearing blackface might hurt black people, might be offensive, and she couched it in that she doesn't like political correctness. She's a real staunch advocate for not having political correctness, which means not being a dick, not being an asshole, but having some respect for other people that you share this planet with. That if somebody doesn't want to be called something, that you don't dehumanize them by calling them that. That if somebody doesn't want to be mocked and imitated because you're sitting in your ivory tower and with your white blonde privilege, and you dress up like Diana Ross and you want to complete, quote unquote, the costume by making your face black, why that would be offensive given the history of this racist ass country. And what's more shocking to me too is that at age 47 she's just figuring this out. Thank you, for audience, for helping me learn something. Well, why the fuck was she hosting a talk show to begin with when you haven't learned? This is what's wrong with this country right here. That you have bloviating mouthpieces of white privilege sitting in the catbird seat of power with entirely too much of a platform to spread their ignorance, whining that others are getting in the way of them having fun. Oh, I just want to dress up like Diana Ross. Meanwhile, people are struggling and they're trying to be taken seriously and they want to be seen as human beings and not just caricatures for your entertainment, for your white ass entertainment. And this woman, why does she have a talk show? How did she get as far as she got in this life? And then they had to give her how many millions of dollars to get the fuck out and shut her fat mouth. Maybe there's more shit you gotta learn. So give me a few $1 million. I'll go around the world. I'll learn all about it. But by the time I'm sitting in this chair in front of this audience, I'm not so stupid that I would spread this lies about other people, about other races, and hurt people. For nothing, because you don't like being inconvenienced. You don't understand why it would be hurtful for black people to be mocked and laughed at. How small-minded are you that you don't understand that you, as a white, rich bitch, dressing up as a black person, what might be offensive, like, you think it's funny, but they gotta wear that skin every effing day. And just for this bitch to put it on as a joke, it speaks volumes about how disconnected she is from the people that she's supposed to be talking to, and why she shouldn't even have a talk show. Why does somebody like that have a talk show in this country? She's to spread her ignorance, to spread her her privilege, to justify that she's so put upon by not being able to wear somebody else's skin for a day at a Halloween party because, she wants to complete the costume. And she's against political correctness. This whole railing against political correctness is really just says it all about the Republican Party. Because what is political correctness? It is simply being a decent person. It is simply being considerate to other human beings. That's all that you are asked to do, Republicans, and you can't even do that. You can't even say, oh, they want to be called this? Oh, I will call them that. I will not be an asshole. And they can't do it. They're victims. They turn themselves into the victims in that situation. So, good for her for learning and the tears in her eyes. Why the fuck did she have tears in her eyes? Why are you crying, honey? You're a millionaire. You just got millions of dollars to go the F home and shut your effing mouth. I wish somebody would give me $1 million to shut my mouth. No, they won't. I will never shut my mouth. Just buy some goddamn merchandise, please. But that's all I ask. But this one, I mean, it's so ridiculous that you think that this idiot. That's what really got me when I saw this apology and the tears in her eyes. Why are you crying? Why, you know what, those who had to endure hundreds of years of oppression and then had to, just sit silently watching you idiots tap around in blackface, and then in 2018 in 2016 had to watch a racist piece of shit get elected despite receiving fewer votes, and then little whiny, blonde, put-upon, privileged princesses take up the mantle of anti-political correctness and die on the hill of what? I want to wear blackface? How do you think? Like, I guess she thinks she's being controversial or something. She thought she was, that's what strength is to a Republican, is having the courage, quote unquote, to be a dick, to be an inconsiderate asshole to the rest of humanity, that we're all supposed to just, bow down before their ignorance, So anyway, that's what I wanted to share about that. It irritated me on so many levels, not just what she said, her apology, the tears, the standing ovation, and then the millions of dollars she got to get the F out. Because she learned something. Well, good for you. Welcome to the party, moron. Stay tuned, because she didn't learn shit. That's what I think. She didn't learn a goddamn thing. Well, she's the victim. Believe me, right now there are white privileged princes all over this country complaining that she had to get to go take her millions and go home, and it's so unfair. Because it's so unfair to those who have that don't realize how much privilege they have. Like, one of the things that's so tedious about living under fascism, I knew that fascism was going to suck, but I didn't realize it would be so tediously boring with these whiners complaining about how unfair everything is all the time. It's so unfair. Like, the media is so unfair. Everyone's so unfair. They won't let us be assholes. It's so unfair. Well, you get to be an asshole, Megyn Kelly. You all get to be assholes, but we all get to have a response to it. And there are consequences to being an asshole. So that's why, when they talk about we're snowflakes, left-wingers are snowflakes, liberal snowflakes, there is nothing further from the truth. It's like opposite day, because everything that they say is opposite day. That's part of the fascist tactic. They make you think you're crazy by, it's projection. It's called psychological projection. So whatever they're doing, they accuse their opponent of doing. So they're like, oh, we all have to tamp it down, when they're the ones that are inciting violence, that are literally screaming that they're going to pay legal fees of the morons who are violent. You know what I mean? So they're effing snowflakes. So this one, she's crying because she learned something. Why didn't you learn it before? You're an educated woman with a talk show. Why didn't you learn that before you sat in front of your camera? You know what I mean? You didn't have enough time, I guess. It had no value to you, right? To learn about other human beings who live on the planet, because that's the Republican way. Whatever you see past your eyelashes, that's as far as your vision goes. It only goes from your eyelashes to the mirror, and if it affects you, then it's worthy of discussion. It's worthy, right? So that's the Republican way. Anyway, so yeah, now she gets to take her millions and think about life, I guess. She'll be all right. But the Trumpansies, they are the ultimate snowflakes. They need their big authoritarian daddy to save them. It doesn't matter that the authoritarian daddy is a liar, is a racist, is a who's calling me? Why don't I have that off? Anyway, and but so that's why, you know, when Poppy was talking about the Proud Boys, it's the same thing. They're the snowflakes. They go into the crowd. There's nothing weaker than going into a crowd of protesters and sucker punching people. Why? Because the weaker your argument, the more violent the adherents to that argument are. It's just a fact. So if you have to use violence to intimidate people and to spread your message, then your argument is pretty weak. So with these Proud Boys, you know, they're the strongest. It's like they need Trump as their daddy to tell them, oh, it's like when you're, you know, at the toddler, you're the best, you're the strongest. And that's why the Republicans, they're constantly, they whine about participation trophies and, oh, we're getting weak. The Americans are so weak because toddlers are getting trophies just for showing up. And that's what it means to hold on to your white privilege. You think that your greatest accomplishment is being born white. It is the ultimate participation trophy. Just because you were born into this world, you haven't done shit. You're done nothing. You're standing on the privilege of your forefathers, of your ancestors, and you're trying to make sure that the world doesn't evolve so you can get a piece of that privilege. And you're doing everything you can to stop it from evolving up to and including violence. That is the Trumpanzee cause. That is the Republican way right now. They are the ultimate snowflakes with the ultimate participation trophy, white privilege. That's what that is. Yeah. So, and then they have their daddy telling them, no matter what the reality is, that they're the strongest, they're the best, they are the hardest working, and everybody else is trying to take from them. The brown people, they just want to take, and it doesn't matter what the reality is. If something doesn't go their way, it's the brown people's fault, even though it's really daddy who's tricking them, you know. So anyway, that's when I saw that whole thing with Megyn Kelly, I was just like, what was that bitch ever doing with a talk show? There you go. That's another example of just how screwed up this country is, because in a normal, sane country, that she would not have a talk show. That woman would not have millions of people watching her say what, like, just espouse bullshit, espouse her stupidity. And in the, if you watch the clip, and just like I do at the Trump rallies, if you look at those in the audience agreeing with her, shaking, and then they're all applauding, giving her a standing ovation. Why are you giving this bitch a standing ovation? Woman, she's had every privilege, everything handed to her. She's had every opportunity to learn and to be a decent human being, to have every door open to her in spite of her abilities, and still she didn't know that you don't act like an asshole to other human beings. That she had to learn that. It was such a she was so put upon not being able to wear blackface at Halloween, you see? Of all the problems in the world, she is the champion of anti-political correctness for some reason. It must be hard for Megyn and all her pals as they sit around in their gated communities complaining that they had this perfect Diana Ross costume and it wasn't the same without blackface, and those damn snowflake liberals ruined it for them. So this is where we're living, people, and this is why everybody better vote this coming week, because if we don't, not this week, the following week, Tuesday, if we don't send a clear and decisive message to these morons flying around this country. It's for real. We have seen what's going on. When bombs in the mail, he's not saying. So things could happen. So we're not out of the woods yet. So, but when those are being sent around, and I saw the hashtag on Twitter that there was, and it's still going. One of the hashtags was "Vote Blue to end this nightmare." That is the summary of the last 2 years. This is an effing nightmare that this country may not survive. And we all want a functioning society. That's why we're here. That's why we care about politics. That's why we're watching this show, and that's why I do this show. Because we care about the future of this country. And we are the true patriots. And just like the patriots that stood up to the king and the aristocracy in the American Revolution, we're still fighting that revolution. And those agents of oligarchy are very close to dragging us back to times that we thought, the founders fought a revolution to escape, where the rich run everything and own everything, and everyone knows their place, and we all just sit here awaiting our rewards in heaven. That's what they want. And in the meantime, because we have this maybe false notion that we're living in a democracy, right? We have an aspirational democracy. We're not quite there yet, but as people like Trump and Putin and the Saudi king who think he can get away with murder, and they're living in a different reality than we are, watching us all down here fighting amongst each other over bullshit, when we should all truly be pointing our anger where it belongs, at them. But Trump is the ultimate con man, and the worst part is he's got a hell of a lot of enablers and a hell of a lot of followers that believe him. It is really, that's probably the most shocking part of living in these times. And, when they talked about Kushner on TV, about how Ivanka and Jared, how they must be so upset because the shooting at the synagogue, because they're Jews. The other thing that I thought of, because they were saying on TV how they're observant, how they don't on the Sabbath, how they don't turn on the lights and they don't put on the TV and whatnot. Well, I guess I actually did wonder, was Khashoggi murdered on, I guess it was okay, he wasn't murdered on the Sabbath, because, Jared, he's pretty much in on that. He was in on that. So this is what we're dealing with. Why we have a corporate media that gives these people a pass? That speaks about them like they're not fascist monsters destroying this country. They should have no leeway at all. There should not be a show on MSNBC or any other media outlet where the American people aren't reminded exactly what we're up against. We shouldn't kid ourselves. We shouldn't fool each other that Trump is a real president. Who cares what he says? And then they all get around and talk about how, well, he set the right tone there. I wonder, let's get real, people. Stop deceiving yourselves. Stop wasting all our time. Start organizing. And, I guess, it's really me too. I should say, watching the corporate media, it's like them wondering if Trump's ever going to act presidential. Why am I wondering if they're ever going to call him out for what the hell he really is? And consistently call him out. Anyway, so we only have like 45 minutes. So let me wrap up the show by saying thanks, everyone, for being here every week. I see you. I appreciate you. And you make it possible. We are in this together. I really believe this. And I also want to thank Poppy Champlin for coming on the show and being a regular. And so if you can donate, do me a favor, do that. Buy some merchandise at the RDT Daily Store. Join our Facebook page. We have 150,000 followers and growing. And that's it. We really are in this together. And like I always say, we stick together, we win. Get ready to vote. We will win. And I will see you next week. My name is Tara Devlin. I should have said that. See you soon.